What is Christmas without a train? And while any train will certainly do, many operators today want to add that special splash of holiday festivity by choosing a special holiday-themed train for their Christmas tree and display layouts. While in recent years there have certainly been a number of different Christmas-themed train sets by Lionel, MTH, K-Line, RMT, and others, you can easily make your own Christmas train without breaking the bank. Hello again, this is Mike with another episode of Toy Train Tips and Tricks. This year, I created this special Christmas-themed train to use on my holiday display layout. As you will see, I accomplished this with a minimum investment of time or money, and most of my modifications are completely reversible, so these cars can be used on the layout throughout the year. Some items work great for Christmas with no modification whatsoever. The MPC-era Southern Crescent and Chicago and Alton passenger sets are Christmas classics with their red and green colors. Candy-themed cars also work great for the holidays. You can easily add holiday treats to hopper cars and dump cars to make your trains more festive with no modifications at all. Or for just a little bit of time and money, you can add more of a splash. Here is my Santa Claus gondola. In past years, I've used a common and inexpensive Burlington Northern Green gondola, but this year Santa is riding on a Santa Fe car. This car was previously modified with metal post-war trucks, so it rides well at the front of the train. I added a set of battery-operated lights from Dollar Tree. Last year, I attached the lights with clear tape, but now I find that Gorilla brand poster putty works even better. I use this stuff for lots of projects around the layout. With 2 AA batteries, these lights will run a very long time. To raise Santa up into a more visible position, I cut scraps of styrofoam from my layout construction to fit the car. Leave a little space around the battery pack so you can turn the lights on and off with a small screwdriver. Santa and the reindeer are actually a cake decoration I picked up a few years ago. You never know where you might find neat layout items. I picked up another set of lights at Dollar Tree and some small Christmas trees to use as a car load. I installed the lights and foam as before, and once again I used Gorilla poster putty to hold the trees in place. To hide the battery pack, I cut a small sheet of white paper to size. Since the foam was scrap, I spent about $3 on the decorations for this car. I had some trees left over, so I pulled out another inexpensive gondola car, this time a short one, and added foam and the rest of my poster putty positioned trees, and another car joined the train for less than $2. Inspired by the paper wrapping on my Lionel Lifesavers tank car, I decided to decorate this shell tank car as well. From our family stash of construction paper, I selected a sheet that was relatively close to the yellow of the shell car. I determined that 2 strips of paper, roughly 5.5 inches by 2.25 inches, could be wrapped around the car without interfering with any of the molded-in details. I disassembled the car by removing this Phillips screw, detaching the ladders and handrails, and then I gave the car a quick cleaning. Then, using a basic graphics program, in this case Google Slides, I created some basic artwork for the car. Commemorating the holiday classic film Elf, I printed graphics for Buddy's Best Pancake Syrup, because elves love syrup. I also thought that the yellow color of the car would be a better fit for pancake syrup than, say, for hot chocolate. I printed the strips and attached them to the tank car with clear tape. Then I reassembled the car and it was ready to go. At the end of the season, I will simply remove the tape and the paper label, and the tank car will return to regular petrochemical service. For the rear of the train, a simple lighted red caboose works fine with no modifications. To power the consist, there are many options. First, you can use any unmodified locomotive. Any train will do. When I'm in the mood for diesel power, I have a Christmas-decorated, ready-made train's beep diesel for the job. This twin-motored unit is more than up to the job of powering a small holiday train. When RMT initially announced their retirement and closing, they were emptying out their warehouse at ridiculous prices, and I picked this gem up for $35. Much like MTH, RMT has since remained in business, although on a much smaller scale, and they no longer offer locomotives, unfortunately. But what about steam power? Well, there's a budget solution for that as well. even if you want to create a custom decorated locomotive for your seasonal train. My solution was this Marx No. 490 steamer. Like the nearly identical Marx No. 400, this bare-bones, stripped-down versions of these steamers can be found in good condition for $10 or less. Some deluxe versions have double reduction motors, but these are often cannibalized by Marx operators to use in other models, as most Marx four-wheel steam drives are compatible, from the Mercury and Commodore Vanderbilt all the way up to the 666 and 1666. But this basic version has the single reduction motor, which means it doesn't play well with Lionel turnouts and crossings. It also lacks a headlight and a reverse unit, so it doesn't work well in an operating layout. But it's perfect for running endless loops around a display layout or Christmas tree. A couple of rattle cans of paint transformed the basic black locomotive into this festive green and silver scheme. A little maintenance was in order to prepare this little loco for seasonal duties. One nice feature on this one is this little porthole right above the commutator, which allows me to clean the commutator face without disassembling the motor. I sprayed a little electrical contact clear on a cotton swab and wiped back and forth. Overall, I used about 10 swabs to get the commutator shining to my satisfaction. Also, be sure to clean the copper wipers on each of the axles, as these supply the common power pickup for the motor. Likewise, gently remove the center rail pickup and clean the wipers underneath. Then clean the center rail pickup itself. If necessary, grease the axles and add some light oil to both sides of the commutator shaft before reassembly. I ran into a minor setback as the small metal bracket that holds the front of the motor to the shell was missing. With replacement parts unavailable, I designed and printed my own design on my Ender 3 3D printer. Lacking the original screws, I secured the new part in place with No. 4 3/4-inch wood screws. The headlight is simply a hole in the front of the boiler. I printed a headlight lens out of transparent PETG material, and I will probably add an LED headlight later on. I thought about making custom decals for the steamer and tender, but the tender in particular has had many cracks repaired. I thought a decal would not only allow the cracks to show through, but may also have adhesion problems if these old cracks begin to flex. Therefore, I decided to use a similar method as with my syrup tank car, simple graphics printed on paper. And yes, this is a Lionel tender, so I can use Lionel rolling stock without worrying about compatibility issues with Marx couplers. As I mentioned, this one was in really rough shape, and at least using it for the holidays saves it from the junk box. After carefully cutting the graphics out of the paper sheet with an X-Acto knife and a fresh blade, I simply used an Elmer's glue stick to secure them in place. The glue is water-soluble, so if I change my mind and decide to make decals later, removal will be relatively simple. So, my $10 locomotive, plus a few cans of paint and some paper graphics, means that I have an annual Christmas steamer for less than $30 altogether in supplies. But does it run? Unfortunately, the Marx No. 490 is a lightweight in the pulling department, so this train is limited to my 3 gondolas and a lighted caboose. When I want to add the syrup tanker plus my other festive rolling stock, I will switch to the Beat Diesel, or I'll press my MPC Southern Crescent Hudson into freight service. So there it is, my DIY low-budget Christmas train. Most of the construction is so simple the entire family can join in, making this a truly special holiday project. And while costing very little, it becomes a priceless family memory. These same tips can work for any special theme, from Independence Day to commemorating your favorite sports team. Just keep your eyes open at craft stores and dollar stores, and you never know what type of items you may find that may be useful on the layout. I hope this video has inspired you to make your own holiday train, and if so, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and tell your friends and neighbors. Until next time, have a festive holiday season and keep the trains running, and we'll catch you next time on Toy Train Tips and Tricks.